Hey, welcome back to my workshop. Or if this is your first time here, welcome to you as well. This week's project, I'm going to be working on this antique hand plane here. I'm not sure the brand. I think it's a Sargent, but we're going to get it cleaned up and find out. This came to the channel from George at You Want to Watch last year at Jacktown when I met up with him. He gave me a huge old carpenter's toolbox full of cool tools. And I'll throw a picture of it up right here so you can see. But I pulled this out the other day and thought it would make a great project for the channel. Hang tight, we're going to take a closer look. Like I said, I think this is a Sargent. I've got one very similar to it that's a Bailey. And the Bailey actually says Bailey across here. So let's just start by taking it apart and see if we can see any markings on here. All right, we got some damage on the lever cap. It's not too bad, and it should not affect the performance. The plane blade and the chip breaker, rusty, but looks okay. Pretty rusty. I'm going to run this across a wire wheel real quick and see if there's a name on here anywhere. Plane blade cleaned up here, and I'll try and get this to focus in on that. But it says Sargent VBM. And this looks to be a number 3411, which was a 9-inch long smooth plane with a 2-inch wide blade, which that matches up. But this lever cap doesn't appear to be a Sargent, because let me show you what a Sargent one looks like. This is one of my old Sargent planes that I haven't got to yet. This is a 3415, but you can see the cap on this one has got this distinctive pattern in it, and I think all the Sargents did. And then if you look at the front of the plane, it's kind of hard to read, but it looks like it says Stanley Rule number 36 or 38. I can't read it because it looks like to me it's been double stamped. So I've already got this apart. Next thing I want to do is get the frog out of here. All right, so both those screws look pretty original. Probably some 100-year-old wood shavings there. All right, I'm going to try and get the tote off. That's good. It's not bent. This has no cracks in it, so that's good shape. Get the front knob off. That's in good shape as well. I'm thinking a quick bath in the ultrasonic cleaner for all my metal parts. This is an old shower curtain. Man, these things work great. Put on top of your bench when you're cleaning stuff like this. All right, and get a little closer on the mystery. So I think the overstamping here was the owner's stamping, because nothing's straight and it's a bunch of random numbers and letters that I can't make out. But I can make out Stanley Rule, and I can't read that, but I think it was Stanley Rule and Level Company. But it's pretty clear it's a number 36. And the number 36 was made from 1869 to 1935. What I want to do next is just flatten the bottom of this. I don't want to take a lot off because I don't want to mess too much with the opening of the mouth here. It's a little chipped along the edge, but I think it'll clean up okay. And I'll do the same on the top with the frog sits. I'm not worried about this. I just want this good and flat right here. Yeah, there are no gaps in there. I bought these kind of flap disc sanding deals. I actually bought these over a year ago. I've never used one, but I thought I would try it. I bought them to do these with. I just hadn't restored a hand plane in forever, so I'm going to give it a try and see how it works. I got 120 grit loaded up in here. Whew. Wrong way. I got to be honest, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's not perfect. I still got to come back and do some hand sanding, but a lot less aggressive than a sanding drum. Let me get my air hose and blow this out. Looks like I've got a small crack right in there. You can see a small crack right there. I just don't know if it's worth bothering to try and fix. Oh yeah, it's pretty loose. I'm gonna see if I can get some CA glue down in that thing. You know, originally these wood pieces would have had shellac on them. I'm actually going to go back with an amber shellac. But before I put anything on, I'll wipe them down with a tack cloth. This wood looks like it's had a lot of water damage. But it's just going to add to the character. I'm not looking for perfection in this. All right, I'm going to get my wood pieces here sanded with 320 grit. I just want to smooth them back out and get ready for the second coat. You know what? I think I'm just going to wax it. I don't think I'm even going to do another coat of shellac. I like the color right where it's at. I'm going to be using brie wax, and I'm going to go with a kind of a medium brown color. It'll go well with the amber shellac that's on there. All right, time to do a little buffing. All right, everything's fresh out of the ultrasonic cleaner. Looks like it came pretty clean. That's still grimy, but I can clean that. And that's brass. So all of these pieces here, along with these, are going to go into the evaporust bath. And I seem to be missing some screws. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this in there too. This is brass, but I'll go ahead and put this in evaporust. All right, this is how everything looks after 24 hours in evaporust, and then just a quick trip through the ultrasonic cleaner to get some of that evaporust, that gray coating that ends up on here. Probably going to do a little bit of sandblasting on these and then give them a quick sand. I'm not going to go for like a super shiny finish. I just want it to look good, and I want it to be functional. This has still got to get cleaned up, but I went ahead and did the frog, and you can see I was able to get all of the japanning off. But I did start sanding after the fiber wheel with some 320. So I'm going to sand it with 320. I don't know if I'm going to go any higher. It's probably not worth the effort. All right, the way I like to clean up these old plane blades, this one's actually really flat. It's got a little bend to it, but not much. Is I'll get my sandpaper here. I'm going to wet it down so it'll stick. The key is I want to get this back as flat as I possibly can, especially from here up. So I'll start with, I think I've got 150 on here. I just use a magnet to hold it still, and then I'm just going to sand back and forth, looking at the bottom until I see that it's getting pretty flat. I'm not going to be able to get it down deep enough to get all that pitting out, but you can see my scratch marks are pretty even across the whole face here. But this is my workshop machine. I don't use this a lot, but I do use it when I'm roughing in a new blade. So the first thing I want to do is flatten this through several grits. So these plates are glass, and I've just marked them with the grit that's on there. So this is 220. So I'll go to this one next. Okay, the next step is I've got my 1000 grit diamond stone here. Let me get a little lapping fluid on it. And then I'm just going to try and flatten the back a little more. I've got my whetstone here. Get a little more water on it. And before I start doing anything, I like to take the 300 grit side of my diamond and just run it across here a few times and make sure this is good and flat. I'm going to set it on 25 degrees, and I'm going to start by reprofiling this with 80 grit. So this time I'll put the side that I want to use down because I'm going to be grinding from underneath. Almost there. All right, we're coming out real clean here. Okay, doing the bevel side of the blade, I really don't typically go a whole lot more with this. I like to use my diamond stones, and I'm going to put it in a honing guide and go from there. And now I'll go over to the 30-degree plane. All right, let me get this thing adjusted and we'll take it for a test drive. It's got a piece of like 1-inch thick poplar here. Let's give this thing a shot and see how it does. Well, that's not bad for the first shaving right off the bat. Sticking in my hands because the air is so dry in here. I'm pretty happy with that. Now for the very final step, I've got this can of Weatherwood Accelerated from Varathane. This stuff works really good. I'm just going to paint a little bit on here with a little brush. And within a couple hours, it should turn this pretty close to the same gray color. Hey y'all, thanks for hanging out with me a little bit today in the shop. Watching me restore this antique Stanley No. 36 hand plane. It's a really cool looking old plane. It was given to me by George at You Want to Watch last year at Jacktown, along with a whole carpenter's case full of tools. I think it came out really good, especially from a look standpoint. It works okay. Probably will never be a daily user in my shop. I like the metal bed hand planes a little better, but it's going to look pretty cool up on the wall. Again, thanks for joining, and I hope to see you on the next one.